This is a series of questions for year 11 to help revision. This question is about elements and compounds, and I'll go through the question with you and then we'll tell you why the answers are here. The chart shows the proportion of elements in the periodic table that are metals and non-metals. Now this could just be a year 6 question about pizzas, and you have to work out, you've got pepperoni pizza, 8 slices of pepperoni pizza, and then you've got 2 slices of vegetable pizza, and you just got to work that out as a percentage. Nothing to do with science. A very, very simple maths question. Okay? Now you're asked to determine the percentage of elements in the chart above that are metals. Now all you then have to do is say it's 8 out of 10, so that's going to give you 0.8. If you multiply that by 100, then you're going to get 80%. That question is worth 2 marks. Okay, you're getting 1 mark for saying that it's 8 divided by 10, and then the next mark for working it out as a percentage. Now, part B for those questions, it says give 2 physical properties of metals, and all you have to then do is list the properties. Now, this is just a knowledge-based question that's worth 2 marks, but I will go through all of them with you now. So one of them is conducts thermal energy. Heat can be used, and also electricity. The other keywords that we've used in science, and this was done in year 9, things like ductile. They are drawn into wires. Malleable, they can be bent into shape. And then you've got the other ones, they are shiny. Okay, you make metals shiny by polishing them. They are strong. They are sonorous. And that word means they make a sound when they are hit. So when you hit a bell, it makes a sound. It's made of metal. And the composition of the metal and the amount of metal there depends on the sound that that bell makes. And also they are dense. So that's part B. That's 2 marks for that part of that question. Now next is to do with balancing a symbol equation. Okay, now it says sodium reacts with chlorine to produce sodium chloride. Now you know from year 9 that sodium is in group 1 of the periodic table, and chlorine is a halogen, and it makes a halide. Now that word halide or halogen in Latin means salt former. And if you look at that equation, okay, you've just got to put 2 numbers in. Now we've got NaCl on this side of the equation, where my finger is pointing. But chlorine, I'll point to that now, always exists as a diatomic molecule, because chlorine's got an atomic number of 17. So if you remember, the electronic configuration is 287. So that it forms a covalent bond. So when the sodium reacts with chlorine, that covalent bond is broken and an ionic bond is formed, an ionic lattice of sodium chloride, which is salt, which is what you put on your chips. Okay, so because I've got 2 chlorine there on this side of the equation, I have to put 2 in front of the sodium, and that makes that 2 chlorine there, and it balances. But because I put a 2 in front of that sodium, okay, then on the other side I've got to put 2 there. Okay, so that is that question done. Well, that question again was worth 1 mark. Very simple balancing symbol equations. Now I'm going to go on to the next part of the question, and this diagram here, I'm going to show you now, is what we call a sodium chloride lattice. Okay, and the actual question says the diagram below shows part of the structure of sodium chloride, and straight away that you know that that's an ionic bond, and it's made up of sodium and also chlorine. Sodium chloride. And it says, the question says, what holds the particles together in sodium chloride? Straight away you can see that the negative is going to be the chloride and the positive is going to be the sodium. Okay, so if you look at the question, it says use the diagram above. So all you've got to say, you've got to tick 1 box, and it means tick 1 box only. Don't tick 2 boxes, don't tick 3, tick 1. Okay, Because if you tick 1 or tick 2, you will get no marks for that question. And the answer is electrostatic attraction, because we've got positive and negative. Positive and negative attract each other. Okay? Now, the next part of the question, again, this question gets a little harder as we go along. Solid sodium chloride does not conduct electricity. And if you go back to that diagram, you can see that those ions aren't free to move. The sodium isn't free to move. The chlorine isn't free to move. Okay? Now, there's 2 ways of making it conduct electricity.